Hello, everybody. This is Steve O'Reilly and Gayle Saunders with Skinny Post TV, and today we're going to break down the NFC West and give our predictions for who we think is going to win that division in the 2012 season. Gayle, who do you like coming out of the West on top at the end of the year?
Pretty much, if you just think off the top of the head, you just gotta immediately think the 49ers. They upgraded the wide receiver position, got a plethora of running backs. And, San Francisco 49ers D is San Francisco 49ers D. They didn't really lose too many pieces on that great defense of theirs. I think in the division that they play in, they look like a juggernaut. But with those added pieces for Alex Smith in the receiving game, I think, are they going to try to do too much? I see Alex Smith as a game manager. I don't really see him as a huge 400 passing yards a game, but and also another big thing is, they were plus 28 in turnovers last year. Big reason why they got to where they got. Can they repeat that? That's a tough thing to do, but if it's any defense that can do it, it could be the 49ers. So, 49ers off the bat for me.
I agree. I think their defense is just too good. That front seven shuts the run down on their opposition. They make teams one-dimensional, and that's when the turnovers come in. They get after the quarterback. They're very strong up front. They got great linebackers. They got a good back end. And, I don't look at the additions at wide receiver as basically the team saying, oh, we're going to drop back and throw it 40 times a game, 50 times a game. I look at it more like the 49ers are going to, when they're going to beat you, they're going to beat you big. And I think they're just going to pound the rock, and make, the opposing defense come up, closer to the line of scrimmage, try to get that safety up in the box, get that 8-man look, and then they're going to go up top on you. And when they hit, they're going to hit you for 60, 50, 70 yards at a clip. And that's where they went and got Randy Moss, who can stretch the field. They got Mario Manningham, who can stretch the field. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what they're going to look to do.
And Crabtree across the middle.
Yeah, and I think what they're going to look to do is to make defenses really have to stay honest so that Gore can be more effective, so that defense doesn't, creep up, like I said, and get into tight, enclosed spaces for the running game. I think that Harbaugh, as a former quarterback, knows what's a quarterback's best friend, and that's a running game and wide receivers who can stretch the field to put those safeties in a quandary of where do they do? Do they, pick your poison, so to speak? So, obviously everything in this league now depends on your quarterback play. And it's just like every other team that we're going to pick this year for each division. If their quarterback plays well, they're going to have the best chance to win. So I like the 49ers to win that division. I don't think it's going to be very close, to be honest. I think the Seahawks are going to be a good team. I don't think they're going to be a great team. Everything depends on how Matt Flynn adjusts to his new surroundings. Is T.O. going to stick?
Matt Flynn, let's talk about Russell Wilson.
He looks good, but we gotta wait and see. And you gotta be.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's the starting QB. He's looked that good to me.
He very well may, but you got to remember he's playing against teams that haven't game planned him. He's playing against teams that haven't had their first string out there. I mean, it's not like he's going up against the 49ers defense for 60 minutes. He's going up against second and third string defenses that haven't game planned at all. I mean, they don't game plan.
He will be starting this next week.
Yeah, and he'll get an opportunity to see what a game plan looks like and to go up against starting defenses for 3 quarters. And I'm not taking anything away from Russell Wilson. I absolutely agree. He has looked sensational. He's very mobile. He's very poised. And that's what you look for, guys that are poised. They don't, start to hear things and get nervous and jittery and Kevin Kolb and, do all these things. He's very poised, and plus he's mobile. He can get out of the pocket and run with it. He throws a good ball. He's got all the tools, but I don't want to just sit here and anoint him as the next guy for them until I see him do it, in actual live game settings when defenses are, looking at your weaknesses and saying, okay, this is what he can't do. Let's make him do that, and then we see him do it. So we'll see. Their defense is good, though, and they're a solid team, but they're not 49ers good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the Seahawks went out and they spent 8 picks on defense the most in the NFL, and they got the defensive end out of Bruce Irvin out of West Virginia.
He
So
looks good.
so hopefully they're trying to get that blitzing scheme with Clemens on the other side. If they can create pressure with a 12th man out in Seattle, it could be pretty serious. Their safeties are pretty intact.
You want to hear an interesting stat, Gayle? In Pete Carroll's 3 years with Seattle, he's done 1,500 roster moves already.
Wow.
In 3 years, 1,500 roster moves.
He's shuffling out there.
Sure is.
I'm still. How many quarterbacks did he try to bring in Seattle? Like, I still don't get the White. Never got the Whitehurst. I never got the Tavares Jackson. I was like, who's in personnel who was making these decisions? The Matt Flynn was a little, I get it. And the Russell Wilson, that's the first pick where I'm like, all right, this makes sense. This kid is a player. But I like the running game, Marshawn Lynch and Urban out of Utah State. He looks, they call it Urbanator. He looks pretty tough.
He's quick. He's real fast off the edge.
That'll be interesting to watch. But moving on, Arizona Cardinals. Finally, they get Skelton in the QB position. Hopefully he locks that up. And he took the job from my most overrated player for this year, Kevin Cobb. He just like the Raiders. I don't know which player said it, but
Tommy Kelly.
Yeah, he said he's skittish. He looks skittish. I mean, those are some of the things that he's doing. Are some of the things that Eagles fans saw him do. Like, there's moments where he just, I don't know, but I think Larry Fitzgerald deserves better. I think Skelton gives him that opportunity to compete. They just have to get the running backs, healthy.
Well, the bottom line with the Cardinals is their offensive line. They played against the Tennessee Titans, and it looked horrible. I just watched the game, and their offensive line is bad shape. With their left tackle out, they've got a 7th-round left tackle, rookie 7th-rounder starting at left tackle, and he was getting abused by the Titans front, and they have no time to throw the ball. It all starts up front in this league, and I know it's not glamorous, and I know everyone wants to go out and get, the Michael Floyds of the world in the first round of the draft because you have weapons and they look good, but you have to have protection up front. You have to have a quarterback needs time. I don't care who it is. If you look at the best quarterbacks in the NFL, they also have the best lines. Peyton Manning for years with Indianapolis, he didn't get hit too often. Tom Brady, when he had the great offensive line, Logan Mankins and all these guys around him, he wasn't getting hit too often. Even with the Packers, Chad Clifton and all those guys. And you look at, Drew Brees, he had Carl Nicks and all these other guys. They don't get hit too much. The teams are smart enough to protect their investment. They got a guy who can drop back and throw it. You get some studs up front to keep, the defensive line off them. And I think that's going to be the downfall for the Cardinals. Until they get that offensive line fixed, it doesn't matter. If your quarterbacks are getting creamed and they're not elite quarterbacks to begin with, I don't see you having a chance. I really don't. I think the Cardinals could have a long season this year, and then
their defense is one of their biggest strengths. So I think if they can hold it down, they got a shot. But it's not looking too hot right now.
Well, I agree. Their defense is good, but no defense is good when it's a 3-and-out. You got to get off the bench and put your helmet on. You're going back out there, and you're out on the field for more than you're not. That's got to be a ball control style running game. It's got to be everything has to work perfectly for this offense to thrive because that offensive line is just so bad. It really is.
And it's funny that Floyd hasn't made that impact yet. I think he's he's 4th string right now. He hasn't moved as fast as they expected him to. So I don't know. Could have got a tackle with that position.
I said that from the jump, but hey, what can you do? So, not to discount the St. Louis Rams either. Obviously, Jeff Fisher's there. He's always had good, hard-nosed ball clubs that after you play them, everyone that I've ever talked to has said, you play a Jeff Fisher team, you feel it the next day.
They're physical, tough-minded defense always. They always bring it to you.
Steven Jackson looks really good this year, and, Sam Bradford, hopefully he takes the next step in his professional career, but I just don't see enough weapons on the outside, right now for the Rams to compete with, the NFL elite teams. And, eventually that's going to come back and bite you if you're going to, have to put up 30, 40 points to beat the better teams. The Rams are an interesting team. I'd like to see what Jeff Fisher does. I'm interested to see how that pans out. I just don't see enough talent base yet for them to beat the Niners in that division. But I think that they're going to be better. I think that Fisher will definitely improve them. The coaching alone will.
I like their secondary. It got better. They brought Jenkins in on the draft, and then they have Finnegan, and then they have McHale as well. So I mean, they just signed Chris Long to a new deal. Laurinaitis is holding down the middle still. I haven't heard much out of Michael Brockers. I don't know how he's doing out there.
Well, that's a tough position. And usually a defensive tackle as a rookie, that's an adjustment period for them.
I just think it's going to be new coach, new systems in place. It's a little bit too much up in the air. And can Bradford stay healthy?
Yeah,
it's another thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of question marks. So I think in the end, we both agree that the Niners will win the West. We're going to stick with that pick. And I'm Steve O'Reilly. That's Gayle Saunders. And as always, we're giving you the skinny 24/7.